Welcome to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast, where today's top influencers and entrepreneurs on the rise share empowering stories and ninja tips to become the fuel that ignites a positive change in your life. Our guests don't simply coast through life. They don't let difficult situations stop them. They set big goals, keep their eyes on the prize, and they're joining us today to share insider secrets you can use right now to step into your power and live your purpose. Now, here's your host, Christy Ruffino.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast. This is Christy Ruffino, and I'm very excited to have my guest, Schroeder, with me. Schroeder Norholt, is that correct?
It's actually just Schroeder, Madonna, but you know.
I know you as Schroeder, so I really don't know if I've ever said your last name because you're like Cher, right? Schroeder.
It's like, it's basically
Prince.
actually like that.
Yes.
Totally like Prince. Yeah.
And when you learn Schroeder's area of expertise, it's going to even make more sense because I envision, and right now even more so, the Charlie Brown Christmas show with the Christmas tree. Perfect. We've got a Christmas tree in the background. And Schroeder is just like Schroeder and Charlie Brown. So welcome. I'm excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much. Like, I would love to share the little backdrop story about what happened. Is like what happened with Schroeder is he actually popped out of the cartoon world into the real world, grew up, and had a life of music and loving the music, but a hard life, a real musician's life, the ups and the downs and the struggles and the triumphs and the wonderful gigs and everything else. And here I am. That's me. Like I am that guy.
You are Schroeder embodied. So before we get into your complete story, I want to let the audience know a little bit about your background because it's pretty impressive. You are a seasoned music educator, producer, and performer. Schroeder's career spans over 25 years, during which he's helped countless individuals access their musical potential, produced across multiple music genres, composed for film, TV, and he served in musical theater as a music director, voice coach, and accompanist, and performed far and wide in numerous bands as a sought-after piano bar entertainer. And I'm going to put a little pause because I am working with Schroeder to help me become a better podcast interviewer. So you're going to see how I'm going to improve over the next few months and over the next year. And that being said, he has appeared on the better part of 1,000 stages and shared a stage with coaching and personal development leaders such as Sean D. Stewart and Les Brown. Currently, he runs his signature voice coaching program and method called Mic Drop. Mic Drop serves to empower professional speakers and passionate entrepreneurs to deliver their message with confidence, clarity, so they can step into the larger than life version of themselves, command the stage every time they speak, and make the biggest and best impact they're truly here to make. Wow, that's awesome. And I am excited for you to help me live into that promise, Schroeder.
Let's do this. Let's do this, darling.
Yes.
It's a pleasure. Wonderful to be here.
Tell us a little bit more about your story. How did this happen where you've embodied your name? Like you become the character in real life up in Canada, helping people learn how to speak better.
Speak and sing and play the piano and all that fun stuff. Yeah, specific right now to singing and speaking with the voice coaching. Okay, so like a little bit about my backstory is I love to sing. When I was younger, I loved to sing, and yet I was always ruining my voice. And so this is like a real problem for a lot of people. I would ruin my voice, but I was hyper aware that I was happier when I sang. Like I was just, if I could sing, I was happy. And if I couldn't sing because I ruined my voice, I was not happy. Like, so I was basically hell bent on learning how to sing better, like learning how to sing. So like, so I basically studied with world class trainers and mentors, like in the voice coaching space. And I took a bunch of programs, and I learned how to sing. Like I learned the proper technique. And so, now I'm passionate about sharing that because it's basically really like, I don't want to oversimplify. Like there are very simple techniques. To help people. It's basically ridiculous to imagine somebody now ruining their voice when when I can just show them a few things of like, hey, if you just do this, this, and this, you won't have to worry about ruining your voice, for one thing. Like it's just that passion of sharing your knowledge. Like it's like, that's, do you know what I mean? Like whatever it is that you're an expert in XYZ, and it becomes like, oh, guess what, guys? Like, look what I learned. Like, you know what I mean? And I can share it with you now. Like, it's like, I can make it, the thing is I can make it easier for people. Like I had to go through it the hard way.
Right.
There's no reason for that. Like, so I've made it very easy for people. Like, do you know what I mean? Because it's like, also I was a teacher for 25 years. So when you're good at teaching, you can teach anything really, like whatever subject matter. So you know what I mean? Like you become a better teacher over years, like how to teach. Like teaching is a skill. So like I've also honed that skill also. You know what I mean? So I'm putting voice coaching with the teaching, and it's fun. It's fun.
All right. So let me ask you that you mentioned ruining your voice. How did you ruin your voice? Because I'm not quite understanding that.
Okay, because for me, I'm coming from music standpoint. Like it was for me, it was singing. It was singing. Right, and so I'd go to belt something out. I don't know, some crazy rock and roll thing. Right, and it would be like coming from the throat because I wasn't using proper technique. Right, so I'd like ruin my voice.
Yeah.
Screaming, like I wasn't singing Janis Joplin, but like imagine Janis Joplin, like screamy singing.
Right. Got it. Okay. So
that's how I would sing, and then I would ruin my voice.
Okay. Yeah. So that makes sense to me now, because as a professional singer or a professional singer in the makes, if we don't know how to rein in our voice and use it correctly and have our voice emote from the right place, I would imagine there would be a lot of strain. I know I heard some story about Celine Dion where she wouldn't talk at all in her life unless she was on a stage singing. And so she saved her voice for those moments when she sang. But we're not Celine Dion, right? We are, at least the audience that is listening right now, and myself, we want to learn how mastering our voice can apply to us on our entrepreneurial journey, so we can better share our message with the world, because you have a message that you want to share with the world. And that's why you're doing what you're doing. And we all have that same message, or we have that same desire to share our message. But if we're not sharing it effectively, people aren't connecting with us. I mean, we may have a great message, but if we're not using our voice right, and we're not using it in a way that's going to captivate the audience to just lean into what we're saying, then we're really missing out on huge opportunities.
Huge. It was said really well. I put on a masterclass on Friday, and I presented. I quoted myself. Okay, so I started the whole thing with a quote of me, like my own quote, which is, your passion is the fuel and your voice is the vehicle. So to embellish on what you were just saying, is everyone has a message, and and the passion behind that, that's your fuel. You've got that, like that's in you, like, and then but the voice part is where I can help with enhancing how you come across, the vehicle of your message. And then one of the participants took it a step further, and she goes, yeah, like you might have $1 million message, but if you're driving it around in an old jalopy, you got to Porsche that up. You got to Porsche that up, right?
Ooh,
So
I love that.
I just love that too. I thought
What
that
a
was
great
like the most
visual.
exactly.
Huh.
Let's portion up. Let's portion up. So it's really like taking your voice and portioning it up, shining it up, like making, put like buffering down the rough edges and whatever, and making you more impactful.
And you know what?
How
This is
you,
almost like a subliminal thing because people don't necessarily, unless somebody is a terrible communicator, people don't necessarily catch that you're not a Porsche, right? They don't get it when you're speaking because they're not necessarily noticing from that perspective. I know for me, because I've been in Toastmasters for years and I know speaking is one of my things that I need to work on. I pay attention to those types of things when I listen to people speak, but the general person doesn't do that. But when they hear somebody that nails it, and when they hear somebody talking and they're feeling, right, they're feeling that message, then that person has learned how to portion it up.
sure. And even still, it could be subconscious. You might just be leaning in, be like, I love what the speaker's saying. You might not be, as an audience member, maybe you might not be like, wow, his voice has this smooth thing that's whatever, or her, it may not be because of the actual voice on a conscious level. Like you said, it could be
Right.
subconscious,
It's
right? But it's
totally underneath. Yeah.
brings you, yeah, brings you right into their world and like makes you feel their passion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I thank you for sharing because I didn't really understand. I never knew your why. I never knew the story behind your name and how you kind of got on this journey to help people learn, basically take the fast track, right? Everything that you learned over years, you're helping people in weeks or months be able to learn the same thing. And I'm really
Yeah.
excited because I'm in your program and I'm going to get into some of that in a moment. But I'm excited. So hang tight. If you don't mind, hang tight. Hang tight, everybody. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we're going to actually dive into some tangible strategies, or what I like to call ninja tips, that you can apply right now to help you become a better communicator via Schroeder's area of expertise. So hang tight, everybody. Why spend hours networking in person and now online, only to interact without ever connecting? Who wants to be even busier when our goal is simply to get more business? Since 2003, the Dynamic Professional Women's Network, aka DPWN, has established itself as the premier network for women to grow their businesses through relationship networking. With local and global members across the nation, DPWN sisters help each other prosper through collaboration, mentorship, accountability, support, wisdom, and most importantly, referral generation. To join the DPWN team, visit dpwnglobal.com. Welcome back, everybody. This is Christy and Schroeder, and we are going to talk about voice coaching and portioning up our voice. And I actually have a secret. I didn't even share this with Schroeder, but I have always wanted to be a better singer. I hear amazing people, women and men, get on a stage and belt out a great song. And I remember years ago, I was with a group of friends and I don't know what we were doing. We had a Christmas party and one of the girls was a singer and she just got up in front of the piano and sang and played and we all sang with her and it gave me goosebumps. And so that's been kind of one of my hidden desires, right? One of these days I'm going to be a better singer. And I kind of kept this just on the shelf, right? One of these days, maybe I'll get to it, maybe I won't, we all have those dreams, but then learning how to communicate more effectively, or should I say, utilize our voice better, my voice better, will help me connect with my audience better. And then meeting Schroeder at an event, I don't know, maybe a month ago, I just thought everything aligned so perfectly. And so for anybody that's listening, you may not have this hidden desire to be a singer, but I want you to look at it from the perspective that being a better singer is so intertwined with being a better communicator, that one, you can't have one without the other. And when I did the first module of his program, I went in saying, I'm going to have my signature talk and he's going to help me make that better. And he will. That's part of the program, which was what I love. He'll work with you on your specific content to, just make sure that you're delivering it effectively. Right? I'm not misspeaking, right? That's part of what you're doing with the program. You take a little snippet of something, Schroeder, and you're helping people make that better, correct?
Totally correct. 100% correct. It's all about captivating your audience.
Yeah.
Like, you want to captivate your audience. You don't want to just say the words. You certainly don't want to flatline. Hi, I'm Schroeder, and I'm here to talk about blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, like, what do you got here for us? Like, let's captivate the audience, like, anyways, sorry, what were you saying?
Well, and so then how I'm bringing this back together is if you're in the audience right now and you're thinking, well, I don't want to be a better singer. What happened was everybody in that program, I wouldn't say everybody, a large percentage of the people in your program were there because they wanted to be a better communicator for their business. And they realized, ooh, instead of working on this one talk, I'm going to work on a song, because we can work on the elements of the song and then apply it to every talk we do. So I just love that, how you're teaching us the skills to not just use on a one-time, opportunity, but to be able to really adapt into our life with everything we're doing on a vocal journey.
Absolutely.
On our vocal journey.
Vocal journey. I love that. It's and I like how you brought that up. Like, whether you're singing or speaking, it is the same voice. Like, you've got one voice, whether you're doing one or the other, it's the same voice. It's the same. So, like, whether you're singing or whether you're speaking, sometimes actually I'm not sure which one I'm doing. Like, am I speaking or am I singing? I don't know sometimes. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's one and the same. It's one and the same. And certainly the singing brings the speaker more musical, a more musical up and down to your voice. That's the most simplistic way to put it. Like, the more, like, it enhances your delivery, like, on a huge level. Huge.
Yeah. So I'd like to be able to dive into some sort of like, what can you do? What could you share with our audience that they can start doing right now I think we've talked about the value, like, what is the benefit of learning how to communicate better and how to master our voice in a more effective way. As you said, portion it up. So we get the value, we understand the why, but now how do we actually do that?
I mean, I could share a little tip that I actually just was doing before jumping on here, because as a professional, anything, like, whether you're a speaker or like newscasters before the cameras roll or whatever, like, people who know are doing little voice things before the thing. So I was doing this one before we jumped on here. I could share that. It's is that what you mean? Like, a little tip for people?
Sure. Any tips that you want to share? Because I know you've got a free gift that you're going to offer at the end of this interview, but right now, what kind of tangible steps can people take that they can start adopting into their life right now?
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm sure. Like, this one is super effective, and I don't know if it'll come across without the visual, because I know this is a podcast, but if you put your hands together, if you clasp your hands together, like fingers interlaced, and then you take a breath, and what you're going to do is you're going to shake your hands so that your voice starts to do, and you just say a word, or you just say, like, ah, or whatever, like, say ah. Let's just say ah. So, like, the doctor is going like ah. And what you're doing is it's really weird, right? It's really bizarre, but that's like the nature.
I want to do it with you, but I don't want to have everybody turn off right now. So I'm watching you. I'm doing it with my hands, but I'm not making any noise. So everybody follow along.
You just make a really gentle sound, and what you're doing is you're shaking it out. You're shaking it out, like it's a lot of the stuff we do is deceivingly simple. So like basically it's like when you do that, so you're making it impossible to add strain to your voice. You're literally how do you put it into words? You're just making all of the strain go away, and you're basically forcing all the wrong muscles from engaging, and you're allowing the sound to come out. You're allowing it to come out. So that now when you go to communicate, it's more effortless. Like, it's effortless. Like, we want effortless communication. We want effortless use of all of the whole body to engage in how your message, how your voice comes out. Effortless.
Love that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we're going to do that. We're going to hold our hands and we're going to shake it and we're going to have our voice go up and down, up and down. And
then
how
just nice and loud.
often should we do that? Or
I would
for
do
how
that for like
long?
I would do that for like 3 minutes, maybe. If you're like as a quick trick that you can, if you know what I mean, if you're about to go on stage or like hit a Zoom call that you're like, oh, maybe a bit nervous about. Also, it's gonna help you get silly for a minute. And like, if you're nervous at all, like, you know what I mean, like if you're nervous a little bit, or like it'll help with that too. Like, just like, come on, you don't take it too seriously, the whatever it is you're about to do. Like, it's because ultimately it's not. Like, it is like it does feel important. Everything we do is important. I get it. But there's also this underlying, there should be anyways, like a little bit at least of an underlying, come on, let's not take it too seriously. Come on, like, you know what I mean? Or just like it'll relax that aspect of your brain that's like, oh my God, like too overthinking. It's like, put your hands together, shake it. Suddenly it's like my voice feels better. My mental state is not as attached to the outcome of whatever it is I'm about to do. You know what I mean? I'm just like
Yeah, I like that.
it's like the Taylor Swift song, like shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. I love that song. I just actually love that song. Like, on
yeah, that's a
couple
good
levels.
thing. That's a good thing to even think about, like that visual of that. And it gets us out of our head, right? Because we get so caught up in our head before we need to go on stage or communicate that sometimes, we need that distraction. So I love that. That's a great thing. What about mouth exercises? Is there anything else that we can do? What if we're at a place where we can't make noises? Because if we're back at the stage and all of a sudden we start making these crazy sounds and everybody's looking at us or they can hear us, we can't always do that.
I mean, it's always helpful to give your face a massage. So like a lot of your tone, a lot of your frequencies are being held back by a tense facial, like just all the muscles in your, especially your jaw, like but your whole face, like your whole, like in the vocal world, we call it the mask, like your mask. So everywhere, your forehead, your eyes, so massaging your face, that's something you can do that's quiet. And that's really effective at, again, just opening up any tight spots, because a lot of vibration happens in the face, and if it's tight and taut or whatever, then you're not getting the fullness of possibility, like potential of frequencies coming out that people end up hearing. They're not then, like, you know what I mean? It's held back. So massaging your jaw, massaging your face, like you're giving your whole like face a massage, like, is really good for quiet.
Yeah, that's quiet. Love that. Okay. All right. What other tips?
People still might look at you weird, but
Yeah, that's okay. Well, if we get them to laugh at us, it's okay, because then that lightens up the mood and all that. So, yeah, I just think we just grew up just speaking and not really giving much thought to the mechanics behind it. And it's so important. It's so important. What about breath?
What about breath?
Does breath play into that in any way and being a better speaker?
Breath is the first entire step of my whole program. Yeah. It's a big deal.
I know you just looked at me like, what? How? Of course it's important. But see, you have all this wisdom in your brain. I'm trying to pull it out of you, Schroeder. Come on, help me. What do we do with our breath?
Do you want to know now? It's a whole thing. It's a whole
Well, you
thing.
don't have to go through the how to, but tell me, why is breath so important?
So just a visual, if you're driving down the road and you have a flat tire, how far are you going to go? That's basically what it is. That sums it up. That's how
Okay.
important it is. Like, yeah. If you don't have the breath in the right place and a full enough of a one, and not only that, but just like a sort of a practice of breathing, a breathing practice. That's
Mm,
doesn't take time. I don't want people to, I value people's time, and I don't like to like make people feel like, oh, now I have to put more time, blah blah blah. Guess what? Like this, this breathing practice that I teach is something you can do anytime. You're already doing the thing. Like if you're driving, if you're washing the dishes, if you're watching TV, you can be sitting there doing this practice, meaning it's not going to take up time out of your day. Like right now, I'm doing it right now. Like,
okay.
doesn't take more time, but it's like literally as important as air in your tire. And it like kind of is the air in your tire of your Porsche.
Right. And it's not, I just want to clarify it. It's not just regular breathing. We all breathe. We have to breathe, right? Otherwise, we'd all be passed out. But
Totally.
there is a certain way to breathe that is what helps you really, I think, train your diaphragm. Would that be correct? Train your,
Yeah, some people, yeah,
so,
diaphragm,
so,
diaphragm.
so it becomes more unconscious. Yes,
You
no?
want it to become more unconscious, like
Correct.
this. Yes. You want this kind of breathing. It's a full deep breath into the diaphragm, slowly letting it out thing. So any people and yeah, you want it to become subconscious, like unconscious,
Right.
and it doesn't take long. It just takes some time of practice, and yeah, and it's really life giving too. Like it's anybody in the yoga world or meditation, it's the same. Like you'll hear it like there too of like diaphragmatic breathe, like breathe into your diaphragm. It's not exclusive to singing. In fact, it shows up in most like holistic practices
Yeah.
when you look. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
cool.
if we don't know the right techniques, then I don't want to say we're doing it wrong, but we're not doing our
Not doing it
speaking
wrong though. Yeah,
effectively.
no, it's totally. It's upside down. It's literally, if you picture a triangle, is the right way up. But if you're breathing wrong, it's literally you're trying to put the triangle with the tip on the ground and expecting it
Oh,
to. It's literally upside down. So you have to get the breathing right first.
okay.
Like
All right.
that's why it's number one in my program. Like that's why it's like. And some people it comes naturally to, but for me, if anybody like me, like it took me a long time, like, but I can teach it in such a way that doesn't take long. Like, but for me, because I didn't have like a guy, like I didn't have somebody like by my side to guide me through. I was just learning from like CDs, well,
Mm-hmm.
cassettes probably at the time. Don't date myself too much.
8 tracks.
No, not. But literally, like I listened to the thing and then try the exercise, and I wasn't getting it. Like but I did eventually. But like now I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my god, actually not that hard. So I can teach
No.
it really quick. But for somebody like me, that's like, and a lot of people do, like, because and we get into a little bit of not on purpose, but like some of the okay, so a little bit of background to the breathing thing is like we come into the world and we breathe properly as if when you watch a baby breathe. Okay, you watch a baby breathe and they're breathing properly because guess what? They're not thinking about it, and they're just operating the way God made them, like as a beautiful newly born baby. Anyways, so you watch their belly go up when they breathe in, and what happens though to a lot of us is various traumas comes along. Life happens, and so whatever it is, and it's different for everybody. And the more I talk to people, um, honestly, like almost everybody I talk to is like everyone has a story about what happened to them that made their whole like how they associate to their voice,
Mm,
some kind of thing that like made them start being quiet and not using their voice. Some kind of trauma, some kind of messaging. It's kind of universal. Like it's
right.
kind of crazy.
I mean, it
And
can just be
so
as simple as your parents, telling you to be quiet
Mm.
be quiet in the back seat. Everybody's got different meanings behind things that happen to us.
And so what ends up happening is the breath starts to, depending on the level of trauma too, or messaging, the breath starts to do the opposite thing. The breath starts to go shallow and into the chest. And so that becomes, but it's all unconscious. Like people like, I didn't know, like as if you know it as a 3-year-old or whatever, like, oh, I'm breathing wrong. No, you don't. You just start breathing that way. And that becomes your normal way of breathing for the rest of your life. Like, for the rest of your life. Oh my God.
So are you saying then that our breathing, we should be doing all of the time? This diaphragmatic breathing should be happening all of the time instead of just when we're trying to communicate effectively?
I would say so. Like, yeah, I would say
Yeah.
so because because not forget about singing or speaking well.
Mhm.
It's the proper way of breathing. Like it's the proper way of breathing.
Mm,
Like sorry, on like a physiological, like
right.
as a biological being, like that's how our breathing was designed, was diaphragmatic breathing.
Okay.
And so the shallow chest breathing, that's trauma breathing. Like I don't get into like
Oh.
I don't get into the psychology. I'm not a psychologist,
No, no, no,
obviously.
no.
Like, but it's like it's really really interesting. This whole thing, and so what I have noticed is like a really awesome side effect to my program is how people have come to me and be like, my God, like you literally just helped me get over like childhood trauma. Like, and I'm like, wow, I really didn't intend for that, but isn't that beautiful? Like,
All right. Well, we
like
won't put that, don't put that on your sales page, but
it's literally not on my sales page. It's just like, but I've had
no.
multiple people, in conversations and even live on the, in the program be like, wow, like this is really helping, redirect that messaging that I was taught as a kid, or you know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah,
it's
I get it.
very,
I get it.
yeah,
So with your
awesome.
program, your mic drop signature program, obviously you shared breathing is one of the key first steps because without that, you can't, add on the rest of the layers. And I know
Mhm.
we're not going to get into your whole program, but I do know that you have one of your steps that you're going to share with our audience. I believe you said you're going to share that as a free gift so they can kind of learn some basic skills, right? That they can, after they hear you, they can go to your website, they can get it and be able to now start making some changes in their life. So can you share what that is?
It's a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit crazy. So it's actually the entire warm up system that for the program. It's my
Wow.
signature warm up. Like, so it's actually really, if you are listening and you get that and you go and you get this alone will up level your entire thing, like your whole approach to speaking and how you get up there on stage. And if you just do this warm up and you sort of like get it into a bit of a practice, a little, it's a 30, so it's a 30-minute warm up. I take you through like different warm ups that are like, tried and true, used by like stage speakers and singers and actors like worldwide. And then my own unique methods that are like signature to mic drop. So I've distilled all of this into this like fun little 30-minute warm up, and yeah,
Wow.
it's a huge thing. Like I'm trying to communicate like to you, my message to your audience, your lovely audience is like this is a massive thing because it's like basically the entire mic drop program is built on it.
Hmm.
Is built
Okay.
on it. Like this is the cornerstone of the entire program. So yeah.
Okay. Wow. That is
Mm.
so generous. So we won't be able to Porsche it up. We'll be able to Lex it up.
Like it's
Lexus it up. Lexus it up.
oh, I like that as a ring too.
There you go.
Let's set it up.
Oh my gosh. All right. So, you know what? I really appreciate you sharing that. I know I'm excited to continue working with you. And as an audience, you're going to hear amazing improvements in my voice communication skills going forward. But if you want to get Schroeder's generous free gift, feel free to check it out. Go to the link in the show notes below. Connect with them. What if somebody wanted to maybe learn a little bit more about your mic drop program, Schroeder? How would they do that? Could we put the link for that
It's
program
free.
in the show notes as well?
Yeah, you can put the link to the program, and people can, if you want to put my Facebook or LinkedIn profile on there, like it's
Okay.
easy. It's easy to get in touch with me, and
All
we
right.
would just book a call. We would just book a call and see if you're a fit for the program.
Okay.
Which,
Perfect.
I'll pre-qualify people right now. Is like, if you're open, basically, if you've sat through this podcast, you're pre-qualified for the program. You have to be open to silly. You have to be like, get what we're talking about. Like, honestly, like, yeah, that's my, yeah, because I pre-qualify people to come into the program, but like, that would be for your audience, that would be it already.
Well, just go ahead and say, I know Christy, I listened to the Christy podcast on overcoming mediocrity, and you're in, right? Oh my gosh. Well, I really want to thank you, Schroeder. This was a lot of fun. I am excited to be able to share your wisdom with my audience. I have a lot of women that I've worked with over the years to help them identify their core message in the world and get out and share it in a powerful way. And this is one of the pieces that I can't teach. I don't know anything about it. And to be able to give you to them as an added resource to me, I feel is going to bless them as well as bless me. So I really appreciate that.
That's lovely. I love how you put that, bless them. It is. It's literally, it's such a, yeah, it's like my one client, Cheryl, goes like, it was literally the best gift I could give myself was my program. It's like, that kind of feedback is like, what? It's just lovely.
And well, as a side note, I know I mentioned earlier too that this has kind of been a long dream of mine, and I did check into voice coaching at one time, and the investment was 5, 6, 7 times more than what you're charging. So I'm not telling you to increase your pricing at all. Don't do that. At least not that much. You could increase it, but not 5, 6, 7 times more. I know what you're providing is a lot of value, and I'm excited to be able to share you with my audience. So thank you. Could we end this with a song? I don't know. I think that just sounds pretty appropriate. I hate to kind of like spring it on you, but I see the Charlie Brown tree behind you. I see, well, now of course this is coming out in February or so, but I see the piano behind you. I don't know, what kind of song can we end on?
Well, I mean, sure, and it's like it is the season. But if this is February or any time of year, a universal theme, for Christmas is love, and all the rest of the year as well. So how about the classic Beatles, "All You Need Is Love"? Does that
love
sound
it?
like
Love it. Thank you for just jumping on this impromptu request.
Love, 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 love. There's nothing you can do that can't be done. There's nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. Nothing you can make that can't be made. No one you can save that can't be saved.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and continue wrap this up.
Sing along if you know it. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. 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 Love is all you need.
All right. Thank you so much, Schroeder. All right. If you heard anything on this show today that you found interesting or informative or even entertaining, I encourage you to share those little bits of wisdom with your friends, because we actually retain more by teaching others. And of course, if you love our podcast, please go to whatever platform you listen and subscribe, rate, review our show so we can continue to get amazing guests like Schroeder on. Thank you, Schroeder.
My pleasure. Thank you, Christy. Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
everybody.
It's been so much fun.
Yeah, we'll see you all in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast, where we believe that everyone can have the business and life of their dreams once they've learned the art of mastering their story. Mastering our stories is the key to everything we want in life. Our stories can either hold us back or they can propel us to new heights. We can choose. You can choose. Choose to overcome mediocrity with us. Let's achieve greatness together. To learn more, visit www.overcomingmediocrity.org. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast.